Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. I made some progress getting server-specific stuff last. I actually got to where it would blank out the map if you change to something else. So we've got something there. If we go to server 1, we don't see that because we're not there anymore. Now, this is still like overwriting a lot of what used to be a singular bit of data. I need to continue thinking about how we manage that. Right now. Got a cold or something. Objects are all right. So we're assuming a basic whole world. Get servers, get objects. We get servers. We look up big server 2 by name. Use that for a start time. Okay, so we are just assuming that that's for the UI control. And then we've kind of got time selection in one spot. Given a server, we do all of this stuff, which change server, yeah. Oh, do we send leaflet? An initial current server? No. But I was just thinking I probably need to sense this, but because this is like all stuff that should probably be done. Nice. Given a server ID. Our start time. Yeah, that's a little. Would it work? Just call myself. Well, we still have to do the server list update. Servers up. All we've done so far, right? Pretty much. Oh, you're a slightly different. No. You are a definite. There's no maybe about that. There's a maybe about finding a certain. Well, no, we assume we can ID. Because right now the the ID stuff says, oh well, we'll just assume 17. Well, we've already got to let in. Don't need that. And then. Oh. Message model. I might need to be doing the time selection stuff here. View.select serve. Oh. Is it UI? Well. Okay, so this was the case we already had a time. That looks like current time. So, yes. It's model only. But that was after I had configured all of that information. Of course, start time and a start time. Mark for time, where time is model.map time. Well, we hadn't set. Time there. May or may not have arcs at this. But that is a model to model. Means we can try to do this. Oh, you didn't jump to a location either. First start time, start time. Selected server. Server ID, model servers. Yeah, that's just doing a range check. It's not necessarily setting it anywhere. I might have to still do a bunch of the model things. They're really just the messages. Well, that didn't do anything either. All right. So that actually updates things. So where did we break it here? Select server. Now, this was with already configured, but got the L. Okay. So just calling that kind of breaks down our setup process. Monuments, fetch arcs, fetch span. Fetch monuments, fetch arcs, fetch spans. Ah. Are we actually able to get that server ID? Yeah, not compiled yet. Um, one of these two things has to happen. Okay, we're stuck somewhere. Uh, right, I'm not actually looking at... That's the network log, which for some purposes is useful. Okay, so Leaflet didn't like that order of things. Okay, so that was a large server object. All I really care is that we found something. So somewhere in this, we send something to Leaflet that it doesn't like order-wise. I guess this is where I have to verify that I didn't that error before. Okay, we did not just miss the error before. Oh, that could be either data layer or current server. Well, this is with known location. Okay, so yes, it is one of these. And it appears to be that one. No, it's both of them? Oh, no, we got coordinates. Okay, yeah, so Leaflet data layer. Move if out of view. This is going to be a big compressed blob. All right. We figure out which particular thing is complete. Actually, we're going to have to pause on this to get the stack. Okay, it is move if out of view, which gets bounds. So really the error is not that we sent no data. It is the bounds of the current map. How do we check? And my leaflet has started to fall out of date here. I don't think that there was... Options, double click. Passive event handlers might be kind of nice. I think I had to do some custom handling for something that I need to check on for that. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of API changes. There is no documentation about, is there, like, do you have bounds? Ah, center and zoom. This appears to have been leftover code. Okay, this was in error state, right? What? Move if out of view. No, that's an early return. I lost something moving the code around. Probably there was supposed to be a map.setBounds of some sort, or set view. Getting map state. Wait, lat long bounds from a list? Oh, a bound of a list. Okay, I might believe that. Contains the given geological bounds. Mostly contains the whole world with the map. Fix the map. Hit bound? This is for a data layer. Okay, nothing was in view there. You've called this at least once. No, no, because I took that out specifically. That's what was causing the trouble. Right, because I was only calling. That data layer? Search overlays. Oh, display results. Oh, that's the other data layer. Oh. That's why the server change was doing it. We start out over here. So I set up code to do that. And I didn't actually create good bounds. Oh man, yeah, it's just an empty object. Definition for this. Wait. Oh, rectangular. Okay, so it's looking for. Oh, and fit bounds is looking for 2. With lat long bounds also accept as a simple array. So lat long bounds is really would be this thing. Now, they say all methods, but that's not always true. I have found. Bounds are not valid. Oh, the 0, yeah, I bet that's not valid. Lost that. Got data layer. Wait. Not doing any range checks here. Oh, but actually I haven't updated data in this server. And no, that's after. It's going to be set to the end of the data. Well, you're going to be huge. So that's going to take a little bit. Meanwhile, okay. And what we wanted to check was if we did that. Oh, seems to Donkey Town, but it does kind of actually solve one of the problems I was having. Is that look at something that's out of bounds. Now I was removing the tutorial stuff from that. Wait. Oh, those used to be good numbers. We easily got out to 60,000. Are there any tutorials visible in this? Yes. I might need to go to. I think I missed a 0 there. That's supposed to be. No, that's still missing a 0. Well, I mean that will probably cover us. If we got to get to 400. Doesn't really cover Donkey Town, but that's well within ordinary variation. I have to look at this and string. Their arc. Okay. All right, so where does that leave us? Fix up that. Got command debugging on. We were looking at errors with that, which Was the point of that was to blank a data layer if we had one. Wait. Why did you auto fetch data? Okay, we're done. I need a window here. Oh, and we had a bunch of new monuments since last night. I don't know if any of them are on server. Almost easier way to do that. Or I guess I could look up my. Maybe we actually did get some. Nope, they're all on other servers. So I'm not as bothered about. So why are we auto fetching? Our lives on overlay add life data. Sent a data layer command. Which causes the overlay to be added, which ends up looking like the user did it. Data overlay. So I need a separate message for that specifically. Well, actually, I used to be turning the layer on and fetching the data. I'm no longer. I tried to turn off automatic fetching data, but if it sends this, it's going to see that as a layer on and end up fetching the data. Wait, no data layer. Oh. Uh, but here's what I forgot. Data layer command adds it, which gets seen by Leaflet or by the front end UI as you're added the. Huh. Well, there is a small difference between adding and removing the layer and not having any data in it. What I might have to do, keep track of whether I think that should be. But if we turn it on while we fetch the data, then data lake, data false. Maker's loading, data true, value. Just kind of a stand because I didn't actually need it. I just turned it off. Search overlay, anim overlay. For specific layers. There's data layer off and there's on but empty. Well, on but empty, I need a specific way to say. Got a couple of. We've got places we're sending this that may have different intents. We just got our server list, which I was trying to build up to be the same as select server for the initial value to avoid some of that redundancy. We actually got data. We've got no data layer. Fetch data for time. If we have no arcs on this server, then this would really mean blanket. Could that be a data is empty or layer is off? I guess what we're trying to provide is a stand-in for this. And it was instructed to fetch data, so we're going to show nothing. So no data layer. is probably fine as is. That's standing in for a place we would have shown something. Select server should no longer be auto-fetching stuff. Default. Did I convert that from like loading or something? Because I might actually want to convert this into like not fetch. And then I need something to go and turn it on. We want to just not have an effect. Well, I want to clear it if it's there. But I don't want to show it if it's not. So this can be not requested, it can be failed. Data. Reloading. Probably just if it's any kind of data. Now, actually, what we care about here is what the model was. And I think, right, the idea was we would say data false to indicate present but empty. So we would simply not send that, and that was the thing that was causing us trouble in our other little statement. I don't know if I actually want to collapse just yet. Oh, actually, but this actually sort of was indirectly causing that. But all right, no sign of data fetch. Layer is not on. Okay, you are done. I need source. All right, so fix jump to bounds. Don't enable layer changing. Hmm. Well, I guess I'm more concerned about this should almost be a separate thing. I'm debating whether I should be auto-fetching some recent data just to have something to show up. Although I need something to exclude Donkey Town. It's almost like I'd have to find the bounds of the data, then dip it a little bit. Yeah, I can't just use the list and use their fit bounds because I need to find the bounds, shrink that, filter the data, and then I have a new set of data to. All right, so server list. We're seeing, well, we kind of had those other messages. So we start with the simplest change you can make. And perhaps this is instead be a method that does this, so we're not triggering a UI method. All right, because we took a thing that was the entire pair. Okay, too many parentheses. That was on a point. We had server one for them. Yeah, so that's going to jump you to there. No major problems yet. And what we wanted to see is, can we omit this stuff? Well, that was with this. That seems to be jumping to a particular time. I think I might need. That's jumping to particular. Collection. Might be more for updating things when we have previously set the map. Also, this is more updating some of this stuff. Yeah, so like this is 2019. Oh, Big Server 2 is almost a year old. And this is going to have a timestamp. It's still. Okay, yeah. Sort of need to do that. This gets taken care of by doing it down here. So that's not as much compression out as I was hoping. Got servers, got server list. Need to use the start time here. The ID is now only used for passing on down here. Hmm. I still don't like doing the constants. Now, it is possible you'd want to differentiate that in terms of auto-fetching data at one. Uh, okay, so that gets us down to only one place that we are filling in all this stuff. This always fetches regardless of whether we know it already or not. And we do in fact have a server in this case. So this is sort of acting like a caching function. I might be pushing the point where I want to pull out a separate. We've got monuments, arc spans. Oh, we've only got one copy of object data. Specific worlds that we can have pre-computed. Currently trying to fetch stuff per world when that servers ever have anything. So that would be for each of those. I could do a general thing around remote data. Well, only if I'm using. And right now, we're still using the top level one. Now, most of the things that we do with like monuments monuments are is the monument spans arcs. It's all out of this, it's not out of the server. It does have a server ID. We're not even looking up the server to put it in there. Oh, no, wait, we are. Fine. Monuments have not been up. Oh, this updates monuments on both ones. You have to do this on both ones. Okay, you do have a server ID. Oh, no, because I'm updating a subfield of records. And we were just using the existence prices to dict as the substandard for the data. Wait. Oh, because the dictionary is bottom monuments. Now both of these have to update that. You weren't even formatted for. All right, so in order to be rely on that server data, we have to that data. Question. I keep around the top level ones for easy access. Fetch monuments, monuments. Now I did parse this here. Oh, maybe so I could jump to the most recent. Yeah, okay, so that's not actually that big of a deal here. Well, I might use that in determining whether I need to fetch them. Oh, yep. All the monument list processing. Fetch monuments. So this is where we would do things a little bit different. We've got a server ID. And we want to know if server ID is found and the remote data status of the monument indicates they need to be fetched. Fetch them. What does that look like? Let's see. So if we do model dot servers, would dict.member work? That'll be a maybe. Maybe.map. The server to the monuments. And then maybe dot with the default of, well, is it not requested? We're not going to have any place to store it if the server isn't found. This might have to go to failed. Even that? Let's see. Well, not requested. Oh, it has to be error. Maybe we have to do that. Not requested means fetch it. Loading means it's in progress. Data means we got it. Failed means we couldn't get it. So maybe this is more of an if. If all right, that was doing a member check before. Maybe monuments. Oh, member must be, this is dict-get, not the member. Member is what we were using to see if monuments are present in the other thing. All right, so we still fetch that. We fetched monuments once. Fetch monuments for server 1, for server 2. And you see, we fetched server 1 again. So either we did not record it, or this ended up. Well, we'll need. Oh, do I have something else that fetches it? That's only from the layer. Aha. Every time we change servers, which is one of the things I need to get at. This is just from overlay add, which is not doing excessive. But I think that got rid of model.monument. So that's monuments equal. Monuments equal. Changes our syntax. Oh boy. That subtly changed our type. Oh, because we haven't changed the model class it's record. Oh, I never. Layer add. All right, we still get those monuments. We get these monuments. I am not conditionally fetching the other ones. I might want to make that like a method. That's basically the same thing. The other thing needs. It operates strictly through server ID. And though our other thing's going to have a server record. But maybe I could work with that. Oh, what I did before with like lives like require. Well, that is one of the parameters that we have. Server ID is the parameter. But in this context, we've already got the server. Context. Well, that would be the simplest API. What did I do for require lives model? Yeah. So we've already kind of got. Given a model and a server ID. It's the name here. Could really be underscore from. Oh, you need model. Oh, you are returning the entire Bobby. I don't think. No, I didn't update data. Means this is going to be kind of a streaming operation. Because if we're fetching monuments, this is now remote data. I used to be able to do that where I set that all up at once and then sent the commands. But now we have to keep track of our model update. Well, and since we're going to end up doing a succession of these, this is going to have to be able to operate as a stream on update. And since it's a stream, we have to flip this around. The thing we're going to be updating a bunch. So you're going to be model with, oh gosh. These all are all operating on the same. I want to have their model of. I need a bunch of configurations from them. Now I actually care about this server object. Loading status has to. That takes a model. Data layer equals command. Data layer. Hey, Geester. How's it going? Unfortunately, I am thirsty out of water, so I really need to get up and go for a minute here. even more subdued than my... Oh, you can flip the rover at any time now. Neat. I guess in this situation that would be... Oh. Um... Drop it, drop it.
So get rid of these. Yeah, these look way more natural. Instead of just a rotten, I don't even know what to call it. Let's push it back. Alright, duplicate. Let's see if this works. It may not, it's a test.
This will take a little bit, but it's important. The base won't function without it. I really do need to make a...
These we have TI-Mocha and should.js, and I don't want to change those because they're vendor code. So I'm going to exclude that. So it's going to tell me which transforms you want to run. I'm going to select both of them. And then it's going to send it off to JS CodeShift, which is going to handle running the transformations. So then if I do a git diff, and so as you can see, because of JavaScript, essentially, we can't really track.
All right, I'm back. All right, I might need to do some reconstructions here to make this easy to do. Oh, that actually did retry failed. Air monuments. So I want to be able to say need all of this server's stuff. I'm going to generate command. Yes, I could pre-select the server, and then I'd have to pass model and server because of the URLs. Big stuff. Or pull the URLs out and also pass them through. You know, or every single one of these things is going to have to go fish for the server itself. At the moment, I'm pretty much all working in Elm. It is cooperating with a big chunk of JavaScript that's running all the leaflet stuff and doing a bunch of custom rendering and things. It at one point was all of that, and I wanted a nicer setup for all this UI stuff. And I've also moved some of the data management and fetching there. And occasionally I do some Ruby stuff that supports the data processing and data server. Yeah, it's out there. I can keep an eye on it. They're making very, very slow progress on it. So just kind of going along. Dealing with native data structures is kind of painful. Maybe a kind of dict map. Update the server record. No. Elm is the server side is Ruby. Elm is really only targeted at the front end. There are some things you can do on the server side. Or rather, it is possible to run Elm in a mode where you don't reference any HTML stuff or, sort of hook up the events. But canonically, you're dealing with very, very pure computations in that case. If you want to do anything with like web requests or databases, then you're going through a asynchronous communication method known as ports, which can be inconvenient to deal with, but it is a very regulated interface. For instance, all of my communication with the front end, which is pretty much all Leaflet, is going through a port module, which defines the data types I want to talk about, and it's pretty much this is all pretty much all talking in JSON at some level. You're gonna send and receive JavaScript events. So ports are these low-level things that talk in a simple type. The only thing I've done with on the server side is I had an application that was doing WebSockets, and the WebSocket send and receive operations map pretty nicely to a pair of ports. So then you can like kind of share your data definitions around the JSON encoders, decoders, and just have it deal in that message layer. And then on the other end, I'm using a thing where I include a type tag in my message and switch off of that, and app.ports. No, it's yeah. I'm using a single port model for this, so it's .send and some stuff, and that shows up as an event on the other side. Elm itself is your functional compiled JavaScript. I think the name was chosen to be reminiscent of things in the ML language family. And one thing that I'm working with now is that in that pure functional environment, you making any kind of data update requires putting things in and putting it back out. So I have a nested data structure where I have started moving some stuff because I want to start tracking things on a per substructure level, which represents a data server in a game. And that means if I have fetched or not fetched that data, I have to be updating it as I make that request so I know if it's loading or not. I'm not using that in most cases, actually, but I've set up that structure so it's there if I want it. This is not just firing off the request. Right now, I've kind of fished out just the value of interest. But I'm also going to need that substructure because I have to update it, and then I have to update the model with that. And I have to fetch the command out of the result. So I can't just go down, do it in a pure sub operation. So I have the logic of do I need to do it? I have the new value, potential new value of the status variable, which might be either loading or as was. And I have to do that in a substructure where I have to manage the commands at the top level. I'm trying to think if there's any way I can abstract that out a little bit. Go down and make it an operation on the server. I'm also going to, I'm planning to extend this to several other data fields on the structure. So I'm trying to think of something that will expand nicely as we do that. So I was starting to make it a thing that could operate over models and commands, but every single one of them is going to be burrowing down to the exact same data structure. I am trying to improve server awareness and data specificity for the WinR1 life map. I don't know if I'd call it low level. It is focused on simplicity. It's the functional language, so you're not necessarily dealing with a lot of memory stuff. It's immutable data, so you're a little bit hands off. Yeah, it's very different. Yeah, the functional is much more operated on data in, data out. Yeah, I actually got the first version of this going after seeing you messing with the map poll mode stuff. I mean, it's very, very different now, but where we started. There's still a little bit of that stuff in there. Actually wasn't that zoomed in. Gonna be back and patchy. Yep. Still a few screenshots when I zoomed on the art on the Rift. Resolution's a little bit better because I doing the natural objects on top of it, but now we've got all this data that only applies to Big Server 2. But my top level, I want to say, I want to fetch data for this server. So we could probably grab the server object there. Only thing we need to update on the model, I think. Select server. Yeah. Is this actually updating the server? This is not updating. It might need to do that. So I need the model, or I need three things from the model. So I might just pass the model, but I'm operate on the server. It's gvim, but yeah. Use MacVim on my other computer. Which is a little bit nicer in terms of copy-paste support. All I need to do three things to the server, depending on their data is available. That will give us a definite server existence. Ah. So I might make that server command with the server, but yeah, server command also with the model for our URLs. Yeah, I want to fetch data and the particular data, which I'm probably getting to the point where I should have a separate data thing. Well, actually, that was all the instances. Is this structure that's become somewhat popular in Elmland, where you track the status of something loading, and then I am going to have potentially all of these different things that can all be in different states of loading. The main thing is that I'm going to have a list of servers, and I'm not going to have all our data right away. So when we decide we do want to show something, I need to go through and say, well, is it loaded? If not, fetch it. Is it loaded? If not, fetch it. Is it loaded? If not, fetch it. So that's going to change how that thing interfaces. So I have the server, that'll cover the server ID. I can just fetch it out of the structure again. But streaming the model through, or the server through this, would allow me to, if I make this server, and I'm also going to need model for my URLs. And none of this is a maybe. Get server ID, we get the monuments, and we're just dealing if server.monuments sends is server with that's where we need that, and this is server.id. Otherwise, we return this unmodified. And all of this goes away. Your type model. Yeah, and then we called this somewhere else. Now I could do just the URL here. I might do that as a possible later refactoring because I don't know if the others are needing the extra stuff. Now, I called this elsewhere. And it's not going to be so simple on this side because I want to reuse it in other ways elsewhere. So this has to do all of that like setup stuff. Okay, so you are going to be a model and a server and, oh, actually it's not, and that's not quite right. Because this is a singular command, but we got a list of commands before that. We have to put those all together. Okay. You're actually, this is just the API we have now. We can't just grab a server like that. So this needs to return a model command. The server. I could try to dict map through this. Only apply the operation. Present. Return type is different. And I have to get the Okay, and then you don't change the model, but we're going to get a new server and command. And then if it was present, need to return, well, if it wasn't present, then that's just, if it was present, then we have to take our model, we have to take our servers is, we update this with the updated server. And we have our command. And it's messing with the commands that makes this, we can't just kind of dict map in there. Maybe I could set up a function that would like update server with command or something. We'll have to see what the other usages of these things are like. Okay, so that's just our one existing thing, which got very simple and it got very complicated. Yep, got the other comma. Oh, you're right. I think I converted this from a much simpler type of function. have to be doing updates. Dictant server, it should be server, which means. Oh, yeah. Now, how about an actual dictionary? Okay, so that is. So command is a data type. It's kind of a system data type. So I don't even know if it can be defined in plain ordinary language. So one of the interesting things about Elm, and it's an idea that's not a unique idea. If you're familiar with like React Redux, the Redux part specifically, it's the Elm architecture. So an application is a model. It is commands to the runtime system. So you've got a init function that sets up a model. The model is handled by the runtime system. It gives you updates with messages. You've got subscriptions that are things that can like generate messages like timers, WebSockets. And then the runtime will call the view every time the model is changed to re-render. And then we've got some extra URL stuff because we're doing a browser. So the update function is a message, which is, I mean, there's an example where message is an integer. It's a piece of data, and it usually ends up being a record. Or no, model ends up being a record. That's the integer I'm thinking of. And then message, I mean, could be an integer, I guess. You interpret that. But usually it is a sort of enumerated data type, the closest thing in other languages, possibly. Name sort of, yeah. I think ins are what they call them in technical language. So you get an event, you get your previous model, you return the updated model and any commands for the runtime system, like fetch a URL, update the browser URL, connect to a WebSocket, get the current time. So the thing I was editing was really, I think I went back to where monuments are on by default, so I guess really we just have to make sure that nothing weird happens here. Not fetching anything. So what does this look like in our other case? We've got a server. We want to switch this to, so right now changing server will always fetch. We're going to replace this. Require monuments takes the model for the URLs. Right, we're saying these things have to chain themselves. So this is going to be like a pre-step, kind of. No, not fetch. Require monuments model. Got our server, and we're going to start this with command none. I guess I could try to get this set of commands, and then that'd be our final thing, which is going to take that out of the picture. Oh, but I haven't updated my server yet. This has to do the same kind of thing, only I think we'll be able to compress it a little bit. We have multiples. There's going to be model 2. Servers updated with the server ID. Do we have a server ID here? Yes. And servers and the command. Actually, what this becomes is that command. This changes our no, actually, the style is this, which is just Elm style. Okay, that compiles. So we expect to get an initial fetch of, okay, we've got a lot of all the images, and there's our monument fetch. And when changing between, there's 1 and 2, there's 1. Okay, and then that, yeah, we see the other 2 things that we're fetching down here, but we don't see monuments happening every time. I'm still hoping I'll figure out a better way to do this. But for now, I should be able to set this up as this thing being a little pipeline. And then you won't, and then all of this like overhead stuff will only have to happen once. This is kind of similar to what's happening at a high level here. It's like a by function to server. Update server. Maybe there's an abstraction we could do there. Oh, well, lazy might not be quite the word there. Putting caching. All right, so how... And I guess that's about what you expect for a don't refresh. So it used to be called arcs, now it's kind of called C. Maybe I should go through and rename these methods. Arcs. I think you're just seeds URL. Okay, that is the only place we call you. All right, so the idea here would be we break you apart from you. And then we turn this into a functional pipeline where we get the monuments, get the arcs. Already got a cold. All right, no compiler complaints. I guess I do need to be watching network here. So we got that stuff. There. Okay, we're only fetching spans now. That was simple enough I could probably do both at once. And we could get rid of command none by throwing this stuff in as our initial set. Don't know if that's necessary. Huh. You don't actually, well, what the server, course start time, nap time, pair. We actually do that and collapse this up into here. And you're back to just model. Well, there's probably a better way to name this, but sometimes it takes a couple steps to do things because you have a very regular way to name them. Fetch everything. Fetch some new stuff. We go back here, we don't fetch anything. Now. So it's called arcs here. This I actually use in a few parts. Oh, this probably needs to get moved over. Delicate operation. Okay. Rebuild arcs, model. Yeah. Okay, so we're adding a little bit of extra data there. So that needs to know our current server. That might need to know our current server. That's okay. Select arc index. This is going to be on the view side as well. Arc select. Okay, so that only needs it once. There's going to be some digging in there. Well, at the moment, the currently selected set and the top level set are the same because we're just setting both of them. Well, maybe not quite the same. Every time we update spans or arcs. Yeah, so this updates that, and then we go do this. Eventually, we would do that only on the server. Hmm. Can I write this? Can I even type this? As a record that has I don't remember if this is exactly the right type. Now, actually, this is that has to be gnarly enough. I don't want to just do it in a a better name for this. Don't want to retype this. Unbound type variable. Oh, right. So it has to be an arc span of R. Where the deal with that if you just do the inline. Assign data type. Oh, no. Oh, you're probably list. Okay, it accepts that without having actually passed any other kind of data to it. That was passing a model. So to take one example, arcs equals data arcs. Well, server is this server. Arcs remote data list arc. Oh, you do commands. Because I wanted to throw you in at the end of a chain. You don't actually issue commands. You just had to fit that data type. On the end of there, throw it on the end of there. Does that actually have to be a and method? Think order is going to matter here. Maybe set time. Okay, so that one does, and maybe I was emulating those. But rebuild worlds. you can actually send. Probably where I was building off that. Now, that is like to start moving world build. So, keep that in. Build itself is. It's just that anywhere we're doing that, probably going to need to do an update as well. Well, that's the data version. A little different. Basically, every time arc spans and objects also does that. I guess I'll throw it in there in the failed case. That probably means it's not really the update. I did want to make sure to send off the. The arcs could be done at just the moment. That would work and could even turn back into a server once we've gotten those properties off the top level. The do stuff to server and generate commands is maybe turning into a bit of a trend. Probably because my program structure was organized around doing those kinds of do. Like I can make this not deal with commands. Shuffle it around and we can get past this. I'm not sure that that's necessarily super useful because we still have to solve a similar problem elsewhere. Okay, so then you have to be done here. You just don't need to be done there because that's only updating things when we have both of them. So that's actually a skip. These will eventually go away. Stop using the top level data. Okay. This might end up being messy enough. Rebuild world sense command. That is just a versions are expands. Updating worlds. Just touch that same structure for like a send out the result. Data. All right, so arc update, span update, object update. Got the code up front. Oh, I'm not setting you on server right now. Now, I don't know if that technically needs to be there, but I think I made a provision for it. Oh. Okay, well, you were data, which is not technically, even though it would technically be dependency. Oh, you are, this goes on all servers right now. Work for that? Well, you're not gonna have a key then. You're probably gonna get a key value. Or maybe it's value key. Kind of hard to read that. My function EA maybe AA. function, the dictionary. Oh, maybe map. Dict.map. Oh, maybe map. I was passing as a function. Can't do that anymore. All right, so the function. I might not technically need that. And we want to apply this to a server. All right, so you are that little subfunction. You are that little subfunction. Now we've got two servers. Oh, that was for a specific key, so it might. Oh. Does a maybe exist for all of the servers that do exist? I'm not fetching this conditional on server right now. Means I think it could come in. For the serverless stuff. Versions. This could be a timing issue. In fact, it is going to be a timing issue. I mean, we're still using it from the other. That's not. Or we have to fill out servers. When we receive servers, we have to go to fill that field in with what we've already got. So we've got my server. Yeah, so we could, this.map, that's a function. Data.server, what is that? Version. Remote data list version. Okay. So that should catch it if they load in the other. That kind of got classified back to one line. It's turning into a pretty long line. Actually, that did sort of fix it. Say we don't care. Server versions, server. We're going to have to identify those somehow at some. Rebuild worlds. Well, if we end up with a new model somewhere, something just pulls it out and sends that off. You have a command none, you have a command none. You have a command none, except this adds one. But this works on a pair, so this could be done afterwards. That does a leaflet object bounds. I pull a command out of this. It's something I could apply to a server. Yeah, I don't know if he's fixed some of the links. I also don't know a good example offhand. I'd need to know. Well, actually, here we go. That's almost certainly not a main server. 19 hours might not be in range. Yep. Yeah, I don't think he's fixed the server numbering. Well, actually, no. No, yes, I should close that. He's sending. Oh, nope, that's not. Yeah, he's sending an epoch number, which I guess I'll have to resend that email to him. Yeah, this search will be fine because it's in its own database. He looked at a link for Big Server 2 and said, well, I know how to change the server number parameter, the player ID parameter. We'll just ignore that other thing. Doesn't matter, obviously. Obviously. I'm still struggling with some refactoring stuff. Trying to make things more server specific. Is going against the grain of how I had some stuff set up. Yeah. Now, is this... Yeah, this is just calling another function, but it is providing defaults for all these things if they are not yet available. It is updating the structure. And it is sending a new command. So all the updating a structure part we could manage. But I would then have to get the resulting world for the named server, send that off to Leaflet. Do it down here, we still have to fish the server out again. Challenge for yourself or a challenge for me? If you mean live as in current, the data's only released at once a day. You can view yesterday. Like we don't have... Oh yeah, all the lives are out past map data right now. So yeah, if you want to review yesterday in real time, or at 1-to-1 time scale, or any other period for that matter, just 1 second, 1 frame per second. Well, this actually doesn't matter as much, but one game time per second, 1 game time second per second. But yeah, the only way we would get live data is if we had mod clients taking all of the data they received and streaming it to a server somewhere to be displayed. Which was sort of my plan to get any kind of object data before Jason provided it. Now it could potentially be a plan to get some biome data out of things. Well, either that or you run a bunch of bots that connect and record their surroundings and probably die and then get born again and I mean, it's sort of possible. I'm not sure how Jason would feel about that. Yeah, I've actually thought it could be interesting to try and get something that could stay alive. It's a complex multiplayer world, so just using the protocol, it might be interesting to see what you could do with it. I mean, you could develop a couple archetypes, I'm sure. Well, I'm debating if this is even the kind of thing I can tackle right now. I mean, I can extract just the part that deals with data update. I can do the data update. But then we have to fetch the appropriate data back out. Oh, actually. The arc list for a particular server, we're assuming that we're only fetching these for the current data set. In which case that we would actually want to send it, because we used to send it. This might be the kind of thing where I pull out the server, do all the stuff to it, and then do like a dict insert back. And then sending the worlds from that server is not a little bit more of a bother here. We actually have to pull it out just for that. Day before yesterday, yeah. That was interesting because I think that was about the time that I updated the map. No. And, oh, this is still over here. So we very briefly actually had Oh, it's actually been a little bit. It wasn't. No, that's too much. Or I got something confused by the stuff I was playing with here. Oh, yep, I got something confused. Yep, right around there. And then right about the time I published it, got an apocalypse went off, and we're looking at a very different map. So that would actually be all the stuff for this would be out here. Now you were probably well, if you're if it's an Eve family, then gee, I don't know how good our selection. You would have been up here somewhere. But yep. Somewhere over here. It's I think if you narrow down the time more than here to one of these Arctics. Right around there, but are set for after. So we'd actually have to go back. Well, if we go forward, then the time period should have got activity around there. Huh. Yeah, unfortunately, it's actually kind of hard to see the. Oh, nope, that's it. Is this beginning of the period? Yeah, apparently J.C. Wilk was talking about when he was building in Donkey Town that kind of got cut off by the Great Northward March. What? Yeah, well, I don't know if it was a city. It's probably also far enough before this that you're not really going to see it here. You have to go back. I forget what the update was. Oh, that's way too far. In like time, yeah, I got stuck in time mode there. That's not far enough. So That's where Donkey Town was. I don't remember if it was right around here. I could go back to the object logs and find it. I mean, he posted a picture of it at like stage 2 back in Discord. But yeah, it got up to stage 3 before it flipped around to the north and you couldn't get to it anymore. But yeah, having the biomes actually makes it a little bit harder to see map activity. But I don't remember exactly where it was. But I saw people talking about then. It's like, really? And yeah, I found it. But I'd have to go find the right map log and then find the ID again. It's a little bit of trouble. Well, if I just wanted to sit alone in a quiet room, I wouldn't be streaming. So thank you for talking. It is getting late though, so I should probably get on to Stepmania so I can move on to other stuff. Well, so I can have lunch for one thing. So that's gonna have to wait. Or well, this thing is gonna have to wait. So I will be back to do some Stepmania. But programming is over for the time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. Thanks to everybody who hosted me. I am going to need to take a minute to change stream settings and then to set up the pad. But yeah, sometimes I go late, sometimes I finish up a little bit earlier. That's about when I'm usually on. I'll be back in a few minutes. Anybody just want to hang out? Bye.